The film opens with Margot and Tyler waiting on a dock for a boat to take them to an island. Margot smokes a cigarette and Tyler tells her not to because it will ruin her palate. She notes the boat's small and he says they only have 12 guests. They make a profit by charging $1,250 a head. We meet some of the other guests. Lillian Bloom is a food critic who raved about Hawthorne, the restaurant they're headed to when it first opened. She is accompanied by her husband, Ted. Tyler tells Margot that restaurants rise and fall based on her reviews. There are other 3 tech gurus who are rowdy, all bragging about their expertise on hedge funds and cryptocurrency. They board the boat and the captain greets them, telling them that it's a 30-minute boat ride to Hawthorne. A movie star boards the boat, complaining that his assistant, Felicity, has booked something so elaborate for dinner. Everyone is giving a small bite to start the journey, along with champagne. Tyler is quick to take a picture before Margot and him eat. Margot is unenthused. The boat arrives on the island, and everyone deboards and is greeted by servers and house staff on the deck. Each checks in but Elsa, the restaurant captain, eyes Margot suspiciously. She tells Tyler that she's not who he had originally signed up to attend with, and he said that he had broken up with his girlfriend and is bringing Margot instead. This unnerves Elsa. All of the 12 guests are lounging at an expanse behind the restaurant. 2 of them, Anne and her husband Richard, are regulars, so they just head straight to the restaurant and avoid the introduction. Elsa welcomes the others and tells them that they're going to be part of a unique story told with the menu, one that hasn't been told before and will never be told again. They are then shown the bunkhouse where all of the staff live, being told that the staff work 80 hours a week. The door to the restaurant is opened and they all enter. Elsa tells them not to photograph the dishes because Chef feels strongly that part of the beauty of his creations is precisely their ephemeral nature. Chef Slowick appears in the kitchen. He's brooding and intense. He tastes the dish they're about to serve and approves. All the servers then begin to serve the amuse-bouche. Tyler takes a photo and Margot points out he's not supposed to. They both try the food and Tyler ravishes it, but Margot isn't as impressed by the experience. Margot looks out the glass wall that makes up the restaurant to see the boat that brought them there sailing away. Chef Slowick introduces himself and tells the group over the next few hours that they will ingest fat, salt, sugar, protein, bacteria, fungi, various plants and animals, entire ecosystems, at a brisk but fair pace. The group is given the first course, called The Island. The plate is made up of various plants from the island placed on rocks from the shore and covered in barely frozen seawater. Tyler begins crying, touched at the dish being beautiful. Margot is dismissive and doesn't want to eat any of it. She is immediately skeptical of the entire restaurant. The rest of the room revels in it. Even the food critic Lillian Bloom analyzes the dish in awe. Next, everyone is given bread service. The chef gives a speech about how bread has existed for 12,000 years and is usually common among the poor. He then talks about within the group there is not the common man, so tonight they get no bread. Instead, everyone is given shale plates with just the condiments, leaving everyone offended. The chef comes over and asks Margot why she isn't eating. She says, "I guess I don't want to fill up early." The chef says, "That would not be possible. I precisely designed the portions to account for that. Please eat. The menu makes sense only if you eat." Margot tells him, "Thank you, but I'll eat what I want to eat, when I want to eat." Given everyone treats the chef with deference, this is shocking, but the chef half smiles and walks away. We then see an old woman. Having no food at her table, she simply has a glass of wine. The chef claps and they are told that they are going to have the next course, called Memory. He tells the group a memory about growing up and points to the old woman, telling him that it is his mother. She used to be quite drunk when he came home from school, and at 7 years old, he arrived and his father was even more drunk. His parents fought and his father wrapped a telephone cord around his mum's neck. To get him to stop, the chef, as a child, stabbed him in the thigh with kitchen scissors. He never spoke to him again and always wishes he had stabbed him in the throat that evening. The group is then given the first course, Memory. They're all given small chicken thighs with tiny scissors sticking out of them, along with plates fashioned with tightly coiled telephone cords and bowls of tortillas. The tortillas all have images on them. Lily notices hers have restaurants that were all closed after she gave bad reviews. The tech gurus see documents that expose them for committing fraud. A tech guru threatens to shut the restaurant down by morning, and Elsa tells him that won't be necessary. The movie star's tortillas are all the posters of a goofy movie he did a long time ago, simply for the money. Anne sees two pictures, one being a bandage on Richard's head after having a melanoma removed. The other one was a photograph of Richard with a young female escort on a date. He convinces her it was photoshopped. At Tyler's table, the tortillas are pictures of him trying to snap photos of his meal in secret earlier that night. He is worried the chef is mad at him and wonders if he should apologize. Margot tries to wave over a server to send it back, but Tyler snaps at her, saying you don't send things back here. You thank them for even letting you in the door. Margot is offended, but he snapped his fingers at her and gets her up to leave. Elsa directs her to the bathroom. Margot then gets into the ladies' room to smoke a cigarette. The chef enters the bathroom and asks Margot what she's doing there, wanting to know if she's one of them or one of us. He leaves, confusing Margot. When she returns to her table, Margot tells Tyler she wants to leave. He points out that they can't because they're on an island and the boat is gone. For the fourth course, two servers unroll a tarp across the middle of the floor. It's decorated with baskets and covered with sea fennel and edible flowers. The chef goes to explain the next course and a tech guru demands to know what is going on. The chef gestures to Elsa and she punches the tech guru in the nose. The guests are shocked. The chef continues, introducing the staff to his sous chef, Jeremy, who created the next dish, the mess. Jeremy stands at attention beside him while the chef explains that Jeremy is talented and very good, but he's not great and never will be. He explains that Jeremy will do anything to have the job that the chef has, working for 20 hours a day, and even everything goes perfect for him, there is no way for him to avoid the mess. The mess you make of your life, of your body, of your health, of your sanity, by giving everything you have to pleasing people you will never know. People whom you increasingly care nothing about. The chef then says, Jeremy, do you like your life? This life you dreamed about? Jeremy responds, no, chef. Chef asks, do you like my life, the life you envy? Crying, Jeremy says, no, chef. Chef tells the group, ladies and gentlemen, your fourth course. Sous chef, Jeremy's mess. Chef then takes a step back. Jeremy removes a pistol from his waistband and blows his brains out. Everyone begins screaming and panicking. Richard tries to leave and has his left ring finger cut off. Elsa tells the room if anyone tries to leave, they will lose an appendage. Elsa asks Margot to join the chef in the kitchen. In the kitchen, chef says he can tell she's not one of them and she seems to have experience working retail. He asks if she is with us or them. She asks, if I answer you, will I get to live? And the chef says, no, we're all going to die tonight. Do you want to die with those who give or those who take? He gives her a kitchen timer and says she has 15 minutes to decide. Margot goes back to her table. Chef returns and tells everyone some of them were chosen because of what they've done or were complacent bystanders. He points out that Lillian Bloom's reviews damage many of Chef's livelihoods. Margot asks, why do you deserve to die? The chef responds, I deserve to die because I've wasted my life. I thought I was an artist, but instead I see I've been slavishly trying to please people who can never be pleased. Now, at the peak of my powers, all I see that is my food turns instantly to shit inside a rich man's stomach. He points out that Richard and Anne have been there many times, not even appreciating the art that he creates. The tech gurus interject that it's not his restaurant. Doug Verrick is the owner. Chef confirms that Doug Verrick owns both the restaurant and the island, and thus, since the restaurant is the chef's entire life, Doug Verrick owns him. Through the glass window, looking out to the lawn, a light is shown on Doug Verrick, wearing the angel wings, his hands tied behind him, held up by a pulley rope over the sea. Chef mentions Doug has questioned his menu, asked for substitutions, and they used him to get information printed on the tech boys' tortillas. Doug is slowly dropped into the sea, left to drown. Margot's timer goes off. She's brought back into the chef's office and asked if she made her decision. She reveals that she is an escort, and since Tyler needed a date, he hired her to accompany him. She also says that he once hired her to dress up as his daughter while he jerked off and had her say things as if she was her. The chef thinks she should be with the staff, as they're the people who had been subjugated, forgotten, and starved. The group is brought outside for their next course. The chef introduces them to his sous chef, Catherine, who will present the next dish. Catherine tells the crowd that the chef tried to have sex with her multiple times, and when she refused, she was blacklisted from being promoted in the kitchen. Because of this, the next course is called humiliation. Catherine then takes a knife and stabs it into Chef Sloak's thigh. They then hug, the knife pulled from his thigh. The group is told that the men will be hunted and given a 45-second head start to hide. Some take off running, others follow shortly after. At 45 seconds, all the male servers run into the woods, trying to find them. When the men are found, they're beaten and then brought back inside. The chef now points out that he must deal with an unresolved matter. He addresses Tyler, who had been sending him letters for months, expressing how much of a foodie he is and how interested he is in Hawthorne. Tyler explains he's trying to eat in as many of the world's best restaurants as he can. The chef explains that Tyler had been told in advance that everyone was going to die and was okay with it. Tyler is then led into the back room. The chef tells them they have a course left on the menu and must prepare for dessert. He tells Margot to go to the smokehouse to fetch a barrel. Elsa suggests a member of staff should go, but Chef insists that Margot goes. On her way out, she sees Tyler, hanging by a noose, dead in the chef's office. Margot goes out in the lawn and makes her way into the smokehouse. She quickly finds the barrel, but first grabs a scaling knife off the wall. Margot then enters the chef's cottage to find it's a replica of the restaurant's kitchen. In this one, there is also a silver door. She crosses to it, but it's locked. Elsa appears in the cottage and a fight breaks out, with Margot stabbing her to death with the knife she found. Margot takes a key off Elsa and enters the silver room to find a secret room with stacks of cookbooks and photos of the chef throughout his career, ending on a newspaper picture of him flipping burgers at a local restaurant, seemingly happier than he is now. Margot notices a radio on the shelf and calls out for the Coast Guard. Back in the restaurant, Margot enters with the barrel. A small boat arrives and the Coast Guard member makes his way to the restaurant. The chef admires Margot for having found the radio and orders the dining room to be cleared. The staff works to conceal all that's gone on that night and to clean everyone's faces to hide injuries. The Coast Guard tells the chef he's heard there was a disturbance. The chef denies this and nobody in the room speaks up. The officer turns to exit and then turns back around, pointing his gun at the chef, but then turns it to Margot. More specifically, the candle on Margot's table, which the chef had put out. The gun is actually a lighter and he uses it to light the extinguished candle. The chef reveals he's one of them and tells Margot he's decided she's now a taker like all the rest. The group is now told they're getting their final course. Chocolate is poured out on the floor. Margot shouts that she doesn't like the chef's food. Margot tells him, as a chef, his one purpose is to serve people food they will like. And he failed her and bored her and he left her hungry. He asks what she wants and she tells him a cheeseburger. The chef promises to make the best cheeseburger she's ever had. She asks how much and he says $9.95. The cheeseburger is then made and presented to Margot. She takes a bite, she agrees it's great but explains her eyes are bigger than her stomach and wants the rest to go. The chef arranges for her to get a to-go bag. He thanks Margot for dining at Hawthorne. She puts $10 on the table and heads out to leave, and Margot is free to go. She exits. The chef then says the dessert course is based on the s'more. He says it's the most boring of all desserts. Cheap chocolate, marshmallow, graham cracker, but somehow Americans like it because it's set on fire. A coat made of marshmallows is placed on each guest. The floor is covered in chocolate sauce and graham cracker crumbs, and then the entire room is lit on fire. Outside, Margot gets to the Coast Guard's boat. She cruises over the water back to the dock she boarded from hours earlier. Inside Hawthorne, everyone is on fire and all the staff and guests are dying. On the dock, Margot opens the to-go bag. She takes the cheeseburger and begins eating it. She reaches in and pulls out a replica of the menu they had that night. She uses it to wipe her face as the restaurant explodes in flames far away on the island.